Alrighty, boys. Good morning to y'all. Just wanted to continue the little series I started yesterday about a fella who wants to be an owner-op looking into Hotshot trucking. What puts owner-ops upside down? Yesterday we covered the trailers and how some people want to cover the spectrum, with the heavy flat instead of taking what they're going to specialize in, and I use a car hauler. The whole point of that video was to specialize in something. That's the thing with Hotshots. You find a certain thing you want to focus on, and you just take it on. But anyways, I think we did all right yesterday. Now we're going to pick up a topic called preventative maintenance. Guys, this is no joke. This is a sneaky one. This is the one that will wipe you clean real quick and clean you up off the streets real quick. And either it'll sweep you off the streets or it just leaves you out on the streets. Any way you want to interpret it, but it'll prevent you from rolling. I'll underline few of them. This is not going to be all of them. Even at few, this video is going to probably end up being pretty long. So hopefully it won't be too long. So here we go. Preventative maintenance. Something that guys don't understand properly. I mean, there's a term out there, and I do use it myself sometimes. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. But you can't apply it all the time. A few days ago, I posted a video about a Ford that we have in the fleet, like the newest style Ford, and why I still prefer Rams. And I underlined this because I know Rams is my strong point. I underlined it without going into this. I just want to scream, guys, know your equipment. When you're out there on the road, a stupid little clip, a stupid little wiring issue. Rams have wiring issues, and I've talked about them. And the rocker panel can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. I ain't making this stuff up. I will share stories with you that, if that's the only truck I had on the road, could have put me out. You go to a retarded dealer, and there's smart dealers and there's retarded dealers. I have no intentions on putting anyone down. I'm just putting the facts out, and I could state them right here in this story. So this dealership that my truck pulled in, keep in mind, this is a brand new truck. I mean, I don't think I even owned this truck for a month, okay? He's in South Dakota. His speedometer's kicking in, kicking out. All right, well, that's half a problem. And then his transmission goes into limp mode. So, I mean, what choice do you have? Take it to the dealer. It's a brand new truck, right? 2015, smoking nice little truck. And he did. Pulled into dealership one day after another. After diagnostics, these retards tell me they're going to have to do one thing, and then they're going to tell me another thing and another thing. And my thing is, why am I so emotional? If you don't know what in the world you're doing, don't do it, okay? I'm talking to the dealership right now. If you don't know what you're working with, stop. Just tell me, I don't know what we're doing. You might want to look elsewhere. So, a week and some change, these guys are just singing different tunes every day. My guys are just sitting there in a hotel. I had two guys in that truck at the time, two brothers. Very, very optimistic. Like, they're just great fellas, okay? They had their fair share of hardships that time. But, so yeah. So after a week and some change, I lose my cool. What do? I take my limited, load it on a trailer, take another pickup, hook up, and go. Thousands of miles, just because these dealerships don't know what in this world they're doing, okay? So I go out there, drop the truck off, meaning drop off the truck. I decided, for whatever reason, I thought it was a good idea at the time, never doing this again. Decided to put the limited on the gooseneck, not the work truck, to preserve mileage or whatever I was thinking, but not doing that again, just driving my limited. I think that truck really underlined how much I enjoy driving my limited when I'm telling you. There's nothing wrong with these work trucks, it's just, it's fair to say I'm spoiled. I'm very nitpicky when it comes to like door panels and stuff like that. But anyways, that's a story for another time. So check this out. I go, thousands of miles, drop a good working truck off, pick up this busted up truck, okay? So I'm like, whatever, this thing has warranty, I'll just take it to a local dealer, okay? Moral of the story, I got the guys back up and running, and I took matters in my own hands. I took the truck to a dealership that I knew, okay? So took it to the dealership. You know, within a couple hours, they figured out what the issue was. It was the wiring in the rocker panel, and yeah, I think a couple hours later, they had my truck back up and running. This dealership knew what they're doing. They're a local dealership. Props to them, knowing their stuff. Well, this is not where the story ends. As soon as I came back from picking and dropping these pickups, so I had my sleep, and next day I get another phone call. A pickup is stuck in a pass, and the transmission's limp mode. So, you know, I proceed on with my day. I go drop off that truck at the dealership and go and rescue this other truck, you know. So this truck that was rescued from the pass, we took it straight to my shop. So my guy in my shop figured it out. Before the dealerships figured it out, but the dealership's not here to blame to drag their feet. They just couldn't get in my truck right away. So we fixed our truck in our shop within an hour, and the guys out in the dealership fixed the other truck within a couple hours, okay? Oh, shoot. So there you have it. Just these little things, you know. What did it do to me? It put me out for a week and some change. You know, after all said and done, I think I was out for a week and a half or something like that. Time down is not viewed properly by people that are out of the business. I feel like most of them just calculate for the profits lost. Yes, but that's half of the equation. The biggest part is you're not only spending money, but you're not making money. And this is the part where people really don't understand it thoroughly. This is the part where people are like, well, I could do this, I could do that, you know, but anyways, staying focused here. Preventative maintenance, understanding your equipment, to what I wanted to say, you know. That rocker panel wiring is probably the biggest thing with the Rams. If zip ties are cut, if people ever mess with it, or if guys got into some dirt and it ripped the zip ties, look in my previous videos. It'll be included in the issues that these Rams have, and I mention it in there. And I always mention it. When it comes to that, I always mention them. So, understanding your equipment. It's just, I couldn't stress that enough, you know. If this were to happen, this wiring issue, okay, were to happen anywhere closer, obviously I would have my guys jump on it, because I'm out of Washington, and this was in South Dakota or Iowa, somewhere out there. But anyways, there you have a story and facts to support what I'm trying to underline here. Now, knowing your truck is great and all, something that guys also don't realize is tires. Guys, just listen, man. It's very simple. Listen, a tire, okay? A brand new tire on average is what, a couple $100. All right, you know, you look for your deals, and they're about a couple $100 for a decent tire. You know, right tire at the right price, about a couple $100 for these pickups. And then you get used tires, okay? What are used tires? $1.25. Right there, it ain't worth it, guys. Right there, it ain't worth it. Stay the heck away from used tires. Paul, but you use used tires. Yes. And I'll underline the problems, and then you guys will be able to determine for yourself as well when it's okay and when it's not okay. I'm just bluntly saying stay away from used tires for an individual that just has one truck, because most likely it's not going to be in the case that I'm in, okay? I have multiple trucks, and I always buy my tires used unless I'm buying some, you know, wheel set or something like that, and tires come with it. And I always pay attention. This is the underlining factor, is the fact that people need to realize that tires need to be fresh. A is what catches up to them. tires being fresh, A, and B, when they are being dismounted or mounted, it needs to be done professionally. And here's the problem. It's not like, oh my goodness, it's a safety thing, people don't know how to mount and dismount tires. No, it's just people are careless. If the guy hasn't worked in the shop long enough, he doesn't realize what kind of damage he could do. What happens is these guys, these rookies, when they mount and dismount tires, they stretch the tire to a certain point where there's a cord that rips inside. And usually what happens, it's easy to see it coming, is because as soon as you put those tires on, you'll have, like multiple rows of tread pattern excuse me, tread pattern in that tire, and then one row is going to wear out really quick. Throw that tire away. You got a rip cord, and it will backfire you sooner or later. So A, used tires, the biggest issue is guys not mounting and dismounting them properly and ripping cords inside, and you can't tell until you mount them. Either it blows real quick or it starts wearing out. A single line, not like slanted, I'm not talking overinflated, underinflated. I'm talking like all the grooves are fine, all the rows of tread are fine, just one tread line is just wearing out really weird. That's a ripped cord. Get rid of it. So ripping cords and no evidence of it. And the second thing is dates. Watch your dates, guys. This one will backfire on you so hard. Perfectly fine tire, it's running good. I had to learn this the hard way. What I did is I bought some old tires, brand new. These were brand new, but they're old tires. So I think they're like in a storage for 6 or 7 years. Inside, my thing was like, oh, the oils are still there, I'm fine. It was indoor, no big deal. I'm gonna save myself a few $100, and run these tires. Guys, no. Absolutely not. It backfired me so hard, and they went like, one got a bulge, another one exploded. They all just went to crap. Right. Luckily, I think I only had 2 sets of them, and they all just went to crap. And prematurely, I threw them all away, but one tire. Still have one tire late. As a spare. It survived, and I still don't know why it's laying around as a spare. I think we should get rid of it. But anyways, that's the point. Age. So when tires are mounted or dismounted incorrectly, I'm talking about used tires here, cords get ripped inside, and you can't tell until you mount them and start going down the road. B, dates. I always thought it was dry rotting and stuff like that, but from my experience, it bit me in my rear end so hard I don't even care. So now what do? Do I use used tires? Absolutely. Involuntarily, guys. You guys got to realize I have my own shop on involuntarily. I have stories to share for days, but anyways, of my experience with other shops. So I have my own guys that I trust to do my stuff. So my guy, takes his time. Believe me, he takes his time mounting and dismounting tires, but he does it all safe, and it costs me a lot less money than being on the side of the road. So when you have a tire that's been treated right, there's nothing wrong with it being used. Second of all, when it comes to dates, my tires my guys rack up so much miles. So if I do pull off tires off of a truck to save them for the spring, I mean, within a couple years, these tires are done, is what I'm trying to say here. A couple years is no big issue. Now, don't use this as a rule of thumb. Okay, I ain't no professional in tires, but what I have seen, the feeling that I'm getting, is about 4 years is where I'm cutting it off for myself. If I see a tire passing that 4 years, I don't buy it, don't use it, or I just try to resell it for someone that wouldn't be, pushing these tires to their limits, because that's what we're doing, hauling with them. They're pushing them to the limits. And there's nothing wrong with buying used tires if, it meets these criteria. But specifically guys like us that max these things out, it stresses them so much. The weakest link always rips. So B. Recover B real quick. Nothing wrong with them. They just need to be fresh, and you'll be good. I use used tires all the time, because I swap them between trucks. Stuff happens. I'll pull off a set. Between 2-3 sets, I'll make another set because some of them got hung up in the rear for too long. Those will get tossed, and then the fronts are decent. So you guys get the idea. So I'm underlining and being transparent with you because there is money to be saved, but not on the side of the road. So, back to what I said. A used tire usually costs what? 100, 125, and a new tire is about a couple hundred. Well, give it 250, whatever. Double the cost. Keep it simple. Double the cost. But here's the big but. When you're on the side of the road and you need a tire, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And you're going to say, Paul, that's why you have a spare. Believe me, guys. When tires start going, they start going. And they don't go just because. There's a good reason why those tires are going to start going on you. My cousin last year was telling me he blew out 3 tires within 600 miles. There's a story to be told. He's on the cheap side. He always uses used tires, and I looked at him. I'm like, can't say anything. You know, he knows what I was gonna say. You can't just put any tire. That's it. Okay, now moving on. Preventative maintenance and understanding your truck. Understanding what's normal, what's not. Understanding when you're on the road, what are your weak spots? You know, that's why going back to that Ford video that I talked about. You know, usually people will take their newest truck, car, whatever, cross country, but technically that would make more sense. But realistically, people take the truck, car that they trust the most, and that's where it's all coming back from. You know, there's like you got this Mercedes, okay? The Mercedes is great and all, but I don't trust this Mercedes anywhere near as much as I trust my truck. Why? Because I've put so much miles on it. You know, it's like a man's best friend. You build a bond, never let you down, you never let it down type of theology there. But maintenance is gonna shoot you so hard in the foot. I'll share. I think I've shared this, but I'll share it again since it's the topic of the day here. Is I've had 2 rims and a drum and a toe, and I was thousands and thousands of dollars. I was under $5,000. Shoot, I had the number in my head. I already lost it. I know. I want to say it was around $4,000 or something like that. So yeah, real quick. You know, $4,000 going backwards. It's really not that hard to go backwards. So there you have it, guys. These oh shoot, man, 17 minutes. Sorry, guys, for taking so long. I just wanted to share genuinely with y'all what it is and how it is. 2 top categories. I'll recap and end this video. Is people not knowing their truck. So as soon as it starts doing something funky, they freak out, called roadside, or they freak out, go to the dealership, spend days there just to say it's okay. And here's a prime example. You know what I mean? Like, Rams have an issue with their active ram. I think it's an active dam or active ram. Anyways, it's a flap up front that switches from sucking in under the grill to sucking air through the fender. And those things act up, and all of a sudden, you know, you get a message on your screen saying, you know, visit dealership, you know, get a service and all that. A guy that doesn't understand that could possibly freak out and lose days at the dealership just so the dealership tells him, hey, this is an ongoing issue that we've been having and we can't help you. Well, son, you're out a few days. You're out thousands of dollars. Not potential, but if you're out on the road, you're out there for a reason. You ain't hanging out with your family at home. You know, you're out there for a reason, and that reason ain't happening when you're just kicking rocks by the dealership or around the parking lot of the dealership. So little things like that, you know. And if you do know your vehicle and some message does come up, you know what I mean? If you start getting that jerk, what guys are telling me is that once that wiring starts rubbing through, the truck will buck a couple times, shift weird a couple times, and then it'll just get thrown into limp mode. If you see that coming, Isons, I've had a buddy that grenaded an Ison. It's just, his whole truck is a lemon. He should have got rid of it. But anyways, you know, he did grenade an Ison, but what I was trying to underline is Isons aren't known to just go kaboom. So having that knowledge and understanding, you know, find a convenient spot where you could pull over and get under that rocker panel. It's literally right over there. Not on this Mercedes, but on your Ram. You see where my foot is? Just on the backside, right there on the corner of the rocker panel, under the splash guard on that Ram. Get under there and look. You know, see where that wiring was touching, if it was touching. Is it touching? You know, you understanding your truck is just going to make a difference of... not just a difference of making it and breaking it. is going to make a difference of you making some good money and just making it. You know, you could go that route as well, like I mentioned yesterday about the motorcycles. You know, like, shoot, you know, each motorcycle was paying $1 a mile, for example. No, that was an example. That's the real story. I think one was paying a little more than $1 a mile. Having those 1,500, sorry guys for jumping on the road, but I'm just stating a fact here. Having those 1,500 pounds, like I was talking about yesterday, you know, you just added to something a mile just because you have this spot for motorcycles. Yet alone, you still have a partial, you still have a car to haul. So, yeah, you could make some really good money. Same thing goes with hair, you know, like you could get on a tight run, and if you don't make that tight run, a lot of times, guys, brokers, customers will throw a fit and they won't pay you at all. They'll pay you half, or they'll put you on the clock, meaning, hey, you're supposed to be here at 8 o'clock, you know, we got the crew here waiting for you, so whatever it's going to cost, it's coming out of the check, you know. And it becomes an issue from you making thousands of dollars to you losing hundreds. Usually not that extreme, but it could be that extreme. It's usually from making thousands to making, you know, a couple $100. So it really sucks. And you being able to doing what the dealership did for me, get under there, splice that wire, protect it from the weather, and just leave it there, is going to make a difference of making or breaking it. Like, shoot, a few years ago I was driving my old truck, and I see my volt gauge go up, you know, my voltmeter go up. I'm always hanging around 13.5, you know, just a notch under 14. All of a sudden I'm starting charging 14. Well, that's a sign that your alternator's going down. They usually start overcharging a little and then they go downhill. So I knew that I was going to hurt here very shortly. So I started looking on my phone, and up ahead there's a Napa, you know, 2.5 hours away. I'm like, God, let me make it there. Guys, before I hit Napa, I was down. Like, I was going downhill on my voltage. But because I picked it up, because I planned, and because I had few tools with me, I lost a matter of an hour going out there. Yeah, I overpaid for the alternator, but hey, I still made my deadline for that delivery. I still did what needed to get done. And I told the broker, I'm broke down, but I feel like in an hour I'll be back and running. Sure as hell, back in an hour, I'm up and running. So those kind of things is what's going to make it or break for you. I'm not saying you need to be like the most handy mechanic. I'm just saying look into your truck. Don't cheap out. Look into your truck. I just pretty much told you two things. Tires, what a lot of people lose their rear ends on, and regular maintenance. And then they're looking into your truck. If you know, like Rams have an issue. You can't trust a water pump more than 100,000. Do you know how much time it takes to change a water pump on a Ram? Under an hour. Why don't you do it? You're doing an oil change, or, you know, most of these Rams even have a recall. Use one of your recalls. Don't go past 100. Dude, it's a matter of like $100 to thousands of dollars on the side of the road. That's what it comes down to. Or losing your engine if you're just careless and you keep mobbing it with no antifreeze. But anyways, moral of the story, study your trucks. And because I've studied Ram so hard, that's why I feel more comfortable with the Ram. It's not that Ram is so much of a better truck than Ford. It's not the Ford Ram thing. For me, it's understanding Ram, and I'm really biased when it comes to inline 6 versus V8. You know, I'll be honest, I have an issue with but being convinced that a V8 could out-tow an inline 6. Just look around, sober up, look around, look what the big rigs, the big boys that are working day in and day out are running, and then that should answer your question. So let's leave that alone. Sticking to the topic. That's all I'm trying to underline here. And one that understands a truck. Doesn't have to be a top mechanic, but understands and reads about his truck and has these ins and outs. Knowing these ins and outs out of their truck, they're set. They are really set. Like, to a Ram, there really isn't much, you know. If you have I'll go over a list for you, some of you guys. Well, since this video is particular for those newbies, you know, like if you got a 13-14 Ram, every 100,000 replace your Y pipe on the top. When you pop the hood, you'll see there's a Y pipe for your coolant. It's a big old hose. You don't want to do that? Put a billet. Some guys don't want to do it. Some guys want to do it. Like, I would do a billet. Why? But moral of the story: 100,000, change that Y pipe out. 100,000, change out your water pump. What else? When you're doing oil change, always take a look at that rocker panel wiring. Make sure it's not rubbing on anything. Make sure it's nice and tight in there. And in most cases, you know, when you find a truck that's zip ties were messed with, add a little bit more protection. You know, when you got to put in your own zip ties from the factory, it's well zip tied. But because biggest issue I've come across is when you put in side steps, a lot of times you run into those zip ties and you snip them or do whatever, and that messes with it. So go out of your way. That's it. That's all a Ram really needs. Regular maintenance as well. Once again, don't do that oil change once you start skipping a beat on your transmission or your engine. You know, do your oil changes, understand your intervals. Put in the comment section if you guys want me to talk about intervals. I'll share my intervals with y'all. But anyways, may the Lord bless you. Y'all have a mighty fine day. And ciao. Till next time.